My guests at this time are going to be featured at the Wrestling Showcase. It is going to be headlined by a one-night, 8-man tournament being held all out weekend, Saturday, September 3rd, Chicago, Illinois. It is Killer Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux. Scarlett, Kross, thank you guys so much for taking the time to chat with me here today.
Our pleasure.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you all? Congratulations on your marriage, first of all. Why the decision to get married on a glacier, I guess, is a great question.
We didn't want a big wedding. We felt like a big wedding felt more like a big party for everyone else. And we don't know if we're going to even see 300 people in 10 years, if we're still going to be friends with everybody. So we wanted something very intimate, something adventurous, and something out in nature. Those were kind of the check marks of what we were looking for. And we knew we were wrestling in Alaska, and we had a day before that was free. So about 2-3 weeks before, we were talking about it. We're like, hey, do you want to just elope in Alaska? And
Yes.
Through Instagram, we found a wedding planner to figure that out for us in 3 weeks.
Is it logistically difficult to have a wedding on a glacier? Was that a difficult thing to pull off, or were they kind of ready for it?
They have they had a website for it. There were several wedding planners. It's not really a thing in Alaska. It's still, I guess, a very rare thing to do, but it exists, and it's something that they had ready to go.
All right. Sorry. I just had questions. I've never seen anybody get married on a glacier. I just kind of want to get that out there. The Wrestling Showcase right around the corner. Let's start there. Talk to me. How did you guys get involved in this? And Kross, obviously, I would guess your sights are set on winning this tournament, I'm imagining, going into this?
100%. I'm going to smash everybody. So I've been in contact with Fight probably since the very beginning of their incarnation, and I think it's been really cool to see how far they've come. I was discovered by a lot of people on the Fight app, and I know that this is a very big deal with the Showcase and Fight app. And I was approached, and they said, "Would you be interested to do it? There's a belt on the line. It's a tournament style." And immediately I thought to myself, this reminds me so much of the Pride G1. Remember Pride Fighting Champion? On to these types of situations and scenarios. This is, for me as a professional wrestler, this is a dream come true type event to be a part of. They don't come around very often. And the amount of people that are available to do them, if you have an opportunity to do it, I said, sign me up.
Yeah. How is it looking around and seeing like so much great talent out there right now? I mean, I feel like it's a surprise to a lot of people. I mean, obviously the Wrestling Showcase is going to be great and an awesome opportunity, but I feel a lot of people are surprised we're not getting to see more of you right now. There's so many people out there right now.
I think it's awesome. I mean, the passion is still very much alive and strong since the last time I saw it in 2019 before I was signed. People are thriving right now on the independents. No one is, how I would say, a cookie cutter commercialized version of what they think they're supposed to be. People are performing from a very personal place, and I think that always brings out the best work in the ring and creates the best shows you can possibly watch. The indies and anything independent right now just feels very creative, very violent, which is right up my alley, and non-sterilized. And I think if anyone is ever looking for an alternative to commercialized wrestling, this would be the event to watch, in my humble opinion.
It's the Wild Wild West in the best way.
Yeah. And how do you pick then what you want to do then right now? Like, what appeals to you when you get offered something right now? I mean, I feel like it's not just wrestling stuff, but all kinds of different projects I would imagine you two are getting offered right now.
Well, I mean, if I'm being honest with you, when I was in the machine, I didn't pay attention to anything else but just WWE. I was trying to absorb as much product knowledge as I possibly could. Her as well. We were trying to figure out what the company was doing, what they were interested in, what they were involved with on all spectrums globally.
And watching 3 shows a week is a lot. You know, making sure you're caught up on everything going on with WWE, with the training, with going to practice, with making sure you're getting enough sleep. So you don't pay attention as much to what's going on in the indies, who's out there. No. So you're kind of living this bubble.
Yeah, you're chasing this thing. And, you know, when her and I were released, I mean, me personally, I was like, I don't know what the state or the national economic situation is looking like. I have no idea what's out there. But as soon as we put our booking emails up, we got blown up immediately with a million types of different things, as you said, not even just wrestling, a variety of different types of directions of business and revenue and everything. And I mean, we basically just take our time whenever we can find it to assess each deal memo that comes in. And this was at the top of the list for us.
Yeah. Well, there's another guy here in the tournament, Matt Cardona. Obviously, he credits Cody Rhodes as the guy who kind of went out first and kind of set the blueprint, I think, for what wrestlers who leave and kind of find their own lane outside the company. But Matt's really certainly done it his own way as well. I mean, is he somebody that you guys have talked to or gotten advice from? Or, I mean, who are you leaning on as you're kind of making these decisions right now? I feel like there's some really smart people around at the moment.
Nobody.
Oh, God.
Really?
No.
Wow.
No way.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Her and I were already, I'm just being honest, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Her and I were already thinking like this before we got signed, which is kind of like weird because then we got signed.
Mm-hmm.
We were already charting a course to be able to be creatively fulfilled and stable before like we went to WWE, and it's just weird how that winds up happening. So we just kind of resumed back to business as usual immediately after our term was done there.
We lived our lives as if we were never going to get signed, and we were going to be completely okay with it and still enjoy the indies. We like make a living, but the goal when we got to WWE was to be able to buy homes for our parents.
Mm-hmm.
To buy our first home. So that kind of long-term financial security for a family is what WWE was for. But as far as making a living on the independents, it's absolutely possible for anyone if you're willing to hustle.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which do you prefer? Do you like the hustle being out there, or do you like being in the system? Like, which one do you have a preference, one or the other?
Me personally, there's pros and cons to both. I enjoy both, but I mean, I do like being busy, and I do like I like to be involved. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Yes.
I want to be directly and personally involved. I've never been shy of hard work. I don't mind losing sleep to enjoy, doing what I'm doing. However, if you're in the driver's seat and your seatbelt's on, but your foot's not on the gas and someone else's hand's on the wheel, that could be, very challenging. But I wouldn't complain about it. I knew what I was getting involved with, and that's just something that you need to be aware of. Once you step up to the big leagues, it's a big show. There's a lot of moving parts, and you don't get to just do whatever you want. So I'm not salty about it, but I mean, it's brutal when that happens. It's brutal when things go in that direction. But on the indies, I mean, we get to create and control whatever we want, and it's completely predicated off of what the audience wants live. So that's always awesome.
And financially, I mean, I'll just say it: we're making the same as a WWE main roster salary.
That's so surprising. Yeah, that's so surprising. I mean, you guys obviously are super hyper marketable in ways that other people aren't. But I mean, does that surprise you that you could do as well outside of WWE? I don't know. Like, it's kind of it surprises me a little bit. I don't know.
I knew we were going to be able to. I just didn't think it was going to happen this fast.
And I think we're actually busier now than we were before. 100%, we're busier. We're answering more emails, dealing with more contracts, dealing with contracts with television shows, movies. With his Twitch, me with my OnlyFans. Like, we are nonstop busy and hustling, but we have 100% creative freedom and no rules whatsoever to what we're doing.
Yeah.
So would you entertain a return then? Like, if and kind of like looking at what Cody's doing right now, like he was able to retain some of his IP and stuff right now and come back, a little bit more on his own terms. Is that how you guys would envision a return having to be if you were to go back, something along those lines?
Not right now. And it would have to be creatively in the same lane as what we were doing, because we both feel like the fans didn't really get to see what we were doing in NXT on the main roster. Everyone wanted to see the entrance on main roster. They wanted to see the entrance at WrestleMania. They wanted to see us wrestle Alexa and Bray. That's what we wanted too. So it feels like we kind of feel unfinished when it comes to WWE. We understand everything with budget cuts, and we're not the type of people to sit at home and be sad about it. We weren't, not even for a minute, but we got to work immediately, and we're like, all right, well, what's next?
Yeah. I would entertain it under the right circumstances. Like, we're meeting thousands of people every single week at meet and greets or wrestling shows or signings or whatever we're involved with. And the most common thing that we get hit with face to face by people is like, they just feel like this thing we created for them never got paid off. And that's always really heartbreaking to hear. But they also know it's not our fault. Like, this whole thing was kind of, driven off of a cliff. So if there was an opportunity to give people back what they want, it's not even necessarily what we want, but like people have been very, very vocal and very transparent that the presentation of the two characters and this thing that we brought to life was what they wanted to see. People we even joke about it with the mask and the suspenders and all that. I mean, that would have been a great character for somebody else who didn't have a character that was already previously carved out.
Correct. I agree with that. Yes.
You know what I mean? And so when I looked at it and assessed it, I thought, okay, well, maybe they want to make Halloween costumes. Going back to monetizing stuff and whatnot. They're just overlooking. They just want to put a fresh coat of paint on it because it's going up. And, I entertained it as best I could. And then when October rolled around, there was no Halloween costume. I said, okay, well, this could be problematic. But,
sure.
To go back for her and I, we'd have to be like absolutely certain that we're giving people something that they want and not doing something that somebody else thinks is a good idea that's going to blow up in everyone's faces and will be gone again.
Whatever we do, whether we go back or go somewhere else, it has nothing to do with the price tag. It has to do with enjoying what we're doing and, feeling creatively fulfilled.
Yeah. Because
we're happy now. So we're good. So we want to balance. We want a good balance of our lives.
Yeah.
I feel like you guys are such a victim of like bad timing here, right? Like if it had just been like a year or two different, Vince seems engaged with NXT 2.0, right? And like you guys were really one of Hunter's last passion projects. I mean, how does that feel to kind of know that? I mean, of people that love that NXT 1.0 era, you guys are kind of one of the last authentic things left that was left of that era before it all kind of went super hyper colorful,
We're very proud of everything we did, and it's funny that you say we're a product of bad timing, because the entire time we were there during COVID, we were looking at each other saying how lucky we were with the timing of us getting signed, the
True.
fact that the pandemic hit, and if we would have been on the independents, we would have been screwed, because I was still working as a server in the nightclubs to supplement my income on the indies, so I wasn't completely financially set. So the nightclub shut down. There wouldn't have been independent shows. I would have, I don't know what we would have done.
Would have
honestly.
been nobody to bodyguard. No, I was a director of nightlife security operations for the city of Las Vegas, and the entire entertainment and nightlife district got destroyed. And people in our families got laid off. I don't know how we would have ever been able to help them.
So we felt lucky the entire time we were there. So when things didn't go out the last few months, it sucked. But at the same time, it's like we were very protected and blessed in the beginning. So we're like, we believe everything happens for a reason. And if we're not there right now, we still think, we're being divinely protected. We're not supposed to be there right now. We're supposed to be doing something else, progressing, learning, doing other things. And then if we are meant to go back, maybe that'll happen.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
I meant like creatively bad timing. Financially, I totally get it. And now I kind of feel like a jerk, but like, I just meant creatively, I just think
you're not wrong about that.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. And in that aspect of the timing, it was just so weird. Like it's very odd. And I'm actually surprised that even after all this time, people are still so distraught about it, because, aside from being the professional, like the wrestling fan in me, I begin to think about all of these really cool and creative people over time where their presentations were derailed or didn't work out or something like that. And it's like, to be on the list of those people who were so captivating, and for whatever reason, they just couldn't, stay the course, to situations and decisions that were not even their fault.
Yeah.
Proximity heat or something. Like it's a strange feeling. It's flattering to know that people don't want to let it go. It's flattering that people cared that much, and that it was something, as they've expressed to us, that like it was something they were looking forward to week when there wasn't much to look forward to because of what was going on in the world. We felt really privileged in that aspect to bring that to life. And the only thing I ever feel really bad about or a little down about every once in a while is just how disappointed people were that was taken away from them, if I'm being honest.
And honestly, once we saw that Bray got released, and once we saw that Braun got released, we're like, all right, we have to be prepared for anything, because we thought those guys were awesome.
Yeah.
They were killing it, and they let them go anyway. So we're like, all right, we didn't feel bad about ourselves, and we don't think we could have done anything differently.
No.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what you're doing right now. Wrestling Showcase again. I brought up Cardona. I had one of my writers ask me to ask you, Kross, if you would ever do a death match like Cardona did. Are you interested in doing death matches?
I don't know what sort of death match he's done. I know that he's been heavily involved with GCW and has been doing them, but
He only
recently.
did one. He did one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be, depending on the setting, depending on the person, I'd be interested. I recently just competed against Ricky Shane Page.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yep. So we did that in Circle 6, and there was thumbtacks and chairs and tables and all different types of stuff involved, doors.
Those were your first thumbtacks, weren't they?
They were.
Yeah.
How was it? How was it?
Oh, it was lovely. Pulling them out of my shoulder and my neck and my ass.
Oh my God, I was pulling out wood. He was laying in bed at night and I like pet his back. He's like, ah! And then it was big, like, I wouldn't even call it a splinter. It was like a big thing of wood sticking out of his back that had been in there for hours that I accidentally like shoved back in when I pet him. He's like, what the?
I was going to bed.
Yeah, you stabbed me. So I'm like, no, there's still like leftover wood. I'm like, oh. I was picking it out with like tweezers out of his back.
The right opponent in the right setting, right place, 100%. I absolutely would.
Okay. All right. Fine. Fair enough. You're see, that's the thing is you're already really scary. And like, how do you feel, Scarlett? How do you feel about him doing death matches? And would you do a death match? I guess I'll pin it back to you too to make this gender equal here.
No, I want you to answer that for me. Please answer how I feel about it.
She loves it.
I'm all about it. I'm talking about it. I love those kinds of matches. I think blood adds an extra element to play with. I don't like it when it's done too much. Like it needs to be in the right setting. But I started at AEW, so I saw some of the best matches ever with Tyler Black, Silas Young, Jimmy Jacobs, Eric Cannon, and there was a lot of like 30-minute to 60-minute matches with a lot of blood, a lot of weapons, and I loved it. I absolutely love it. I would totally do it. Same thing. It depends on the opponent. But,
okay.
Yeah.
Since you dropped his name, and I love Jimmy, I would love to compete against Jimmy Jacobs in a death match.
That's the one. Jimmy Jacobs versus him in a death match. He'll do it.
He's the master.
Yes.
He's a master.
Everyone always drops Cactus Jack and Foley and all that stuff. For me, it's Jimmy Jacobs. I mean, his history with that level of violence, I think very few people have ever gotten near it.
Okay.
My opinion.
He's a scary man. I'm not going to lie. Yes, I agree with you there. Okay. I don't know that I don't know that a lot of us were expecting that answer from Scarlett there. All right, but that's fine. That's great.
I'm fucked up.
Let him bleed. Let him bleed. All right. Another thing I was asked. So there was the report from Fightful. You guys were booked for Ring of Honor and then were removed from the Ring of Honor or something like that happened. From your perspective, what were you ever actually booked for this? Was this a thing or was this a non-story here that happened?
Well, as soon as we heard about how did this exactly happen? Okay, let me put this is chronologically how this sort of happened.
Okay.
So I'm going to a jiu-jitsu class in Orlando. It's Daniel Gracie's. I attend a school there. I'm there all the time. Someone in the school had brought it to my attention that the company was interested in bringing us both on board. Oh. So I said, okay, cool. Right around the exact same time, somebody else in the school told me that New Japan was interested in having me on board. So I was like, this is incredible. These literally both came in the same day. Immediately, I began a correspondence with both parties. And basically, we were told that they'd be interested in having the both of us.
For Supercard.
For the Supercard. And
I was there for 5 years, so then it was very easy. They're like, oh, you were great to work with. Absolutely. Yeah, we'd love to have you.
Yep.
Go ahead.
And so basically, the correspondent, I just don't want to throw their name out there because I don't know if they want it out there. They can, But anyways, they basically this is the person to be talking to, by the way. Out of all people you would be talking to, this would be the person.
Okay.
So they basically said, do you have this date free? And I said, for this? Yes, I absolutely do. So it was a no-brainer, and we were basically just working out a number. And then there was like radio silence. And I was like, okay, there's probably a lot of moving parts. I'm not going to suffocate this person. So then
they said we need a final approval from the people who write the checks with big number talents, because they said our number was fine. We just got to get the final approval for anyone who's like big money talent.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so like I was like, I don't know how we're going to keep this quiet. We're really pumped about this. This is going to be awesome. She might be able to revisit some stuff from Ring of Honor that she previously did and maybe do something new.
Yeah.
So all of these ideas are coming to light. And then, it was announced on TV that Tony Khan had bought Ring of Honor. And so I hit my correspondent back and I was like, hey, I was like, what the fuck's going on here? And he's like, I have no idea. And then a little bit of time went on, and then, we began to find out, and through my other friends in the company who didn't even know, because we were faving them too. It's not like we thought they maliciously stooged it off. We just didn't want it to leak. We're very old. We're very old school. We don't tell anybody what's going on.
We like surprises. Fans like surprises.
Yeah.
We want to keep the surprises.
Yeah. So, yeah, basically what happened was everybody lost their jobs, and then or they were out of jobs. I don't know if I'm. However, that they didn't have work anymore at Ring of Honor.
They weren't confirmed whether or not they had jobs going forward. Even the people we were talking to work for, so like, we can't help you right now because we don't even know where our future lies right now.
And at that point, on a humane level, there was no way I could continue talking to this person, being like, hey, can you know what I mean? Like, I felt bad for that person on the phone. Like, here's this person who was offering us work, and then
they're not there anymore.
Yeah. And I was like, my heart was broken for them, and I was like, I don't think that this is something that, just on a human level, we should continue pursuing.
Yeah.
And I guess, it just, I don't know, like, that's just basically what happened. It was kind of like sad, actually. I mean, I felt bad, you know what I mean? So I didn't pursue it beyond that. Then I just asked a basic question: is there someone else we should be talking to? And he didn't know. So I just left it at that. So I offered him, if he needs any help or assistance with getting in touch with people, let me know. Like, any of my friends that have ever been released, whether it was WWE or AEW or anyone, I've always privately reached out to them. Always let them know, here's my number. If you need me to put you in touch with anybody, or you need me to give you a promoter's contact, I'm here for you. Don't freak out. Don't sweat anything. And that's what I did with him. And I don't think that he even needs my assistance. He's pretty well established, but you know what I mean? That's what you should do in a situation like that.
Yeah. So have you guys talked to Tony Khan since leaving WWE? Was he like aware of this? Like, have you talked to AEW? I guess, like, because that's another place a lot of people are surprised that you guys aren't at. I think a lot of people just assumed you guys were just going to pop up at AEW 90 days or 30 days or whatever after your contract's forever.
We would be interested in doing something with AEW if creatively this was something that we felt like people wanted to see out of us. It goes very much back to what we were talking about earlier with dealing with fans and what they are expressing to us. This isn't social media. This isn't online. These are real human beings in front of us expressing stuff that, like, them watching what we did on TV and the entertainment we're offering to them is helping them grieve and get through stuff. And they're talking about the importance of these presentations and stuff. And even just on a more like trivial level of just being entertained, maybe not even that heavy, not even that serious. People are telling us what they want to see out of us. And if we're going to go somewhere and we're not going to do that, I feel like this is a disservice not only to them, but it's a disservice to ourselves too. Like, there's no point in getting in front of all of those people on television and not bringing out the best version of yourself. So if there was a conversation that could occur where we could figure out what that would be on television, we'd be open to do it.
Because he doesn't want to come back in the same way, with the Jeff Hardy match, debut on a loss in 90 seconds without me on an end. Like, it's one of those things. It's not like
people don't want to see that. You know what I mean?
It's not a story. We want to tell a story. We want week by week for people to be enthralled and captivated by what we're doing. So it's very easy to come into these companies and say, y'all come in and just do a match. Take your money.
Why?
Like, we've had conversations with almost every company to do something like that. But if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't feel like it's meant to be yet. So once there's a proper story and like a real idea like that ready to go,
direction,
we're interested.
Long-term booking, we would be down 100%. But just to put it out there, money is available in all directions, but the money is coming from the people who are watching. And I'm not going to put myself in another position again, nor is she, where we're going to take their money and give them bullshit.
Well, how's it been working with New Japan? I know you had your match with Suzuki. Did you feel like you were a good fit over there at the moment?
I am enjoying what I'm doing with New Japan, although it's not the sort of television presentation with the theatricality that you might see in Western, right?
Yeah.
In Western programming. And I know that. I know that if I'm going and doing anything with New Japan, this is going to be very strictly pro wrestling based. And so the presentation of the character is going to be dialed back, and it's going to be more of what's going on in the ring. So what I'm doing there has a different, how would I put this? What I will be doing there, I'm very well aware would not be what I would be doing, presentation wise in Western programming.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
And I gather you're looking to find that correct Western outlet right now to complement what you're doing in Japan, right?
100%. You know what I mean? The presentation that New Japan does is entirely different than what AEW and WWE is doing. So to have that expectation going in there, and I'm saying this respectfully, is, you know what I mean? That's just not what they do there.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't expect that.
All right. Lastly, I've gone over time. I'm sorry, but I have to ask you about the Jesse Ventura impression. Governor Ventura actually tweeted you yesterday.
Yeah,
Did he not? Yeah. How was that getting the official okay from Governor Ventura?
That was like
You're like a little kid again.
Yeah. I was like, that's Jesse Ventura talking to me from the jungle and Predators. I ain't got time to bleed.
You got to do the impression now. Can you give us a little Jesse right now?
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? An impression like a hologram?
Yeah, it's something like a hologram. Yeah, I'd like to see you be a hologram if that's okay.
Are you talking about the moon being a hologram?
I actually was talking about the moon. I believe
Don't tell me that didn't happen. I was there, Nick.
Okay, you were on the moon?
I was on the moon.
You were on the moon and it was a hologram?
There's a colony of vampires living on the moon.
In it or on it?
Both.
Wow.
Bob Backlund was there with me. He put a vampire in a chicken wing.
Thank you. That was so wonderful. Sorry, I had several requests to get you to do that. You guys are great. I'm very excited about the wrestling showcase right back here in my backyard of Chicago, Illinois. Again, one more time, September 3rd. And what would you guys like to put over here before we wrap up the conversation today?
May 15th, I will be at New Japan in Philadelphia at the 2300 Arena. So if you happen to be in Philly, come see the massacre that will ensue. And also keep an eye on the showcase event. You're not going to want to miss this.
Next week, actually 2 weeks from now, 21st, ACW. That is Hornswoggle's company. We are in a tag match. So we will be, is it our first match in a mixed tag?
Not the first, but we've done 6-mans. It's been a long time.
Well, we haven't done a mixed tag. Just you and me. No.
You better not make me lose.
I'd make you win. Every time I'm around, you win.
That is true. Anytime she's ever been in my corner, I've literally never lost a match.
Mm-hmm.
That is a going record, and she will actually be in my corner for showcase as well.
I'm a champion.
Yeah.
Okay. So wait, do you have any mixed tags? Any couples out there you want to beat up?
Oh yeah. Oh no.
I didn't know. All right. Thank you both so much.